I have someone with me very special who's been dealing with Vedic cosmology for quite a while on YouTube.
I'm very pleased to be on your show, like because it's all about truth and integrity and sincerity. So that's why I'm here. This is the right place to talk about these things and to talk about the Vedic past aspect of these things, which has been ignored for so long now.
We're in for a treat today because here with someone today that I know they have a lot of knowledge on it. So, guys, we're going to have a great show today. How did you come into Flat Earth and how long have you been around on the scene?
The thing is that in the Vedic cosmology, like Earth is flat. It's called Bhumandal. Okay, so it's called Bhu Devi. It's a flat plane. Okay, it's a big plane, but it is a flat plane. So, like to me, it's like I mean, I've known that since I was like 10 years old. Like the whole this baller theory was only put in like 400, 500 years ago, and like people just because they've been teaching it in school and school books and textbooks. I mean, that's the only way people have come to know that. I mean, but from the Vedic point of view, it was always flat. There is even all the mathematics, all the for star planet movement, Graha movement, everything happens on a basis of a flat Earth. I'm sort of associated with Vedic astrology called Jyotish, and all the mathematics and calculations for that happen from a flat Earth point of view. So you can say that I've been in it for a long, long time, way before this topic even started on the internet.
You're someone that's in a unique position. You live in England. I would consider you a Vedic, and I'm striving to be a Vedic vegan.
Yes. Yes.
I love the culture. It's something I strive spiritually to be a part of. I love the concept of Mama Kali.
I mean, I've never seen any black or white person. I mean, I've never seen those two things. I've never seen anybody black. I've never seen anybody white. Like nobody looks white and nobody looks black like paper. Like, I mean, nobody looks those colors. But anyways, like in the Vedic thing, the like whole Earth is like a sort of family and community. It's not like all this thing is not there, and it's a good thing you pointed out the Vedic word. Like we have to dissociate that word with Hindu and Indian, because the word Indian was made by the so-called English. Like there's a river called Indus, so whatever people lived on that side of the river, they call that India, and then those people became Indians. And the same Hindu river, because they couldn't pronounce Hindu, they called it Indus, so it became Hindu, it became India. So it had nothing to do with the Vedic knowledge per se. Vedic knowledge was there all over, but in that particular landmass, which was called Bharat before, that was what is called India now, was called Bharat. That was its real name. Now the Bharat's goddess was Bharati. So Bharati became Britha. So, but now these people could not pronounce Britha, so they call it Britta. Britta became Brittany, which became Britannia, which became Great Britain, which became, and which was ruling the world for how many years. So that Britannia is everywhere, and so that name actually comes from Bharat and Bharati, and so they took away that name and they put the name India. So what right now the Indian thing is, or the Hindu thing is, it's not totally congruent with the Vedic thing. It's not going as per the Vedic. Like they have gone very far away from the Vedic thing. So people should not try and associate the Vedic thing with Indians or with the Hindu religion as it stands today. Because this making up religion thing, because Vedic was never a religion. It was like a whole cosmology. It was like the whole thing. I mean, to call it a religion is like making a joke out of it. So like it's not like Islam, Christianity, or any of these things. It's nothing. It's not a one book thing. In the Hinduism right now, I mean, the cosmology is not there anyways. It's not like Indians study Vedic things, or every Indian knows Vedic cosmology or Vedic. It's not so. Like, not everybody does that. Okay, so it's only people who are interested in that study that or go into that. Like it's not like a done deal. Like when you are that, like you will study that. And modern Hinduism is just like a way of like having fun and having sweets and just celebrating. In Hinduism, there's just many more holidays than just Christmas. I mean, so it's more about having that kind of thing. It's nothing to do with the actual real Vedic thing from the past. The thing was that when the so-called English came to India and at that time, which was Bharat, and they knew that that knowledge was core knowledge, it was real, it was most ancient and all of that. And that's why they put it in the back burner from that point. They made sure that it was not going to come out or spread out in the world.
Hey, I'm loving this, and the people is too. And you said not too many people in this new flat Earth awakening is bringing up the Vedic cosmology.
The knowledge is not just cosmology, like the astrology, the whole lifestyle, the basics, everything like connects. For example, you said like in the West they think vegan is Vedic, but vegetarian is Vedic, but vegan is not, because in the Vedic thing, cow is very important. The cow is like earth. Cow is like, how earth is mother and cow is mother. And from the cow's milk actually you can get very healthy actually, and you can take out all the diseases and stuff. Like earlier in Vedic times they used to like let cows roam in the jungle, and then when the cows goes to go to the jungle, and they would eat different herbs, in the jungle, and when they came back they would just take out the milk and drink that, and you'll cure everything. You don't have to go pick all the herbs yourself in the jungle, and because the cow knew better which herbs are better and which herbs you need at that time, or you might be requiring at that time. So the Vedic thing is very like milk based system, actually not a vegan system. It's a vegetarian system, because vegetarianism actually came from what is now called India only. It was an agricultural society, Vedic society. So all the vegetarian products and the vegetables and lentils and rices and different grains, all of that, fruits, everything is spices, everything is pretty much coming from what is called India now. Like as far as food is concerned and basics like that is concerned, people could have learned a lot from the Vedic perspective and the Vedic cooking and the Ayurvedic sensibility about that topic.
You say that the cows are sacred when we deal with the Vedics.
Yes.
That's awesome
Yes.
because one of the most famous Egyptian deities was a cow goddess, and she was
Hathor.
Hathor.
It's the Taurus bull symbolism with the horns, because, and the Taurus is the sign for earth as well. When you say Taurus, when you say earth, when you say cow, when you say Hathor, it's the same thing. You're talking actually the same thing, all four things.
That's amazing.
But the cow is not even considered an animal. Like it was never considered an animal. Like never. Like no, under no way. Like
what did the ancestors consider the cow?
The cow is like earth, the same as you consider earth. It's called Bhu Devi in Sanskrit. Earth, living being. Earth is a living entity, and they're a fractal of the earth.
He said that cows are a fractal of the earth. You understand what he's saying is very, very, very powerful.
Earth is a big thing, okay? It's a huge thing, like in size. Cow is like a small microcosmic form of earth. You can't touch all of earth, but you can touch a cow, like as a whole. So it's something which is available to you in the same form, but in a smaller size. So it's a fractal in that way. And the cows have 4 hoofs, like they travel on the land with 4 hoofs, and their electromagnetics thing in their genes and DNA are the same as the area they wander in. So whatever earth has energy and vibration field or electromagnetics in a certain land mass, the cows have the same in their DNA with the cows of that particular area. So they are a direct reflection of the land, basically. The land and the cow are one, basically.
Yeah, we tell each other all the time in America, we say, holy cow. We say, hey man, that's bullshit. And we say these things to desecrate the cow, because in the Western world, the cow is the #1 slaughtered, quote unquote, animal. It's
but then you see the results as well. Then everybody's going crazy as well. So when you do that, there is a result. Like when there's an action, there's a consequence. So it's like the results are there in the West for what has been done. Like that's why they have had World War I, World War II. They always have wars. They always have craziness. And things are just always going crazy. They never settle in the West because the basics are not right. Like when you hit at the basics, everything else falls apart. It's like, if you don't have a foundation, you can't make a building. Every time you make a building, it'll fall down if you don't have foundation. And that's what the thing I find in the West is the basics are always missing. Even in the truther community, and people are trying to teach people, and people are trying to teach other people, and the same people are wearing watches. They don't even know that how harmful a watch is for a human being. Not just that it's a slave insignia. There's actual science to it, because this is your heart and your heartbeat, okay, and this is your pulse where you wear the watch. This is where your pulse comes, and then if you put a watch on top of it, which is like a machine beat. Heartbeat is not machine beat. Heart beats with variability. It's called heart rate variability. The heart rate variability is what gives you an immune system, and it is your spiritual beat, your heartbeat. And when you put a machine beat on top of it, which is the watch, you're actually playing these two songs at the same time, and you're interrupting your heartbeat. You're basically disturbing it, and that's why you're disturbing your immune system. You're disturbing your spiritual life. You're disturbing everything by wearing that watch. And the same thing carries on to like machine music, machine beats. That's why I'm so against machine beats. Like, all the sounds and music which is made by machines on the computers, not made by human beings, not organic. That is not good for you. It's the same. It does the same for you as a watch does, wearing a watch. So, these kind of little basics are not there at all in all of the truther community. Like, people just are like running to try and teach and preach without knowing even basic things for themselves. People just keep on going around in circles, and it creates a whole cycle of confusion.
Yeah, you're definitely right, man. I can definitely see how when we look at the Western world, it's so far behind when it comes to spirituality. When we go to the East, now when we talk about veganism, they stand in opposition of it, and they actually proud to be partaking in the eating of flesh. Most meat eaters, they're proud of it.
Mostly you're just born into it. Okay. The thing is, when you're born into it, it takes some kind of sense to get out of it, and that sense comes from actually going to see where the animals are cut and how they're slaughtered, how it is done, and everything. People who are eating meat, if they are killing the animals themselves, and if they had to do everything themselves, then it will be a different scene. Not many people would be eating meat on this earth, like, if that was the case. If you come to know it's flat, then the main point which comes up is that there has to be some up and there has to be some down. Okay, that is the main thing which comes out of it, like, which people miss. Like, when they had a ball just spinning around the sun, and the sun was spinning around the galaxy, there was no up and down. You're just going round and round and round for no rhyme or reason. Okay, so this up and down which opens up, that means there are planes of existence above and there are planes of existence below. Okay, that's the thing which opens up from flat earth, and that is the meaning which people should take out of flat earth, not or any of this. Like, curvature is not there, and all of that is just basic stuff. That should be put to that thing. It is a done deal now. Even from the eclipses or different things, you can totally figure out there is no curvature at all. That is very like a little small step. One has to move forward from there and understand there is a up and there is a down. There's a higher, there's a lower. In the West, like, this higher lower concept is so ridiculed because they have just spread this whole equality thing. Like, that means it's just here and you're not going anywhere, and there's no high, there's no below, like, there's no hell, like, there's no better states or worse state. That is the problem. And flat earth was the first step in actually understanding that how this multiverse actually is. Like, it's not what they taught you to be, like just a 3D universe, which was taught in school. It's not that. It is a multiverse, and it has layers and planes of existence. The belief is not required when you actually come to know something. Right now, internet is though everybody knows there's internet, so like there's no belief required. With the ancients, with the Vedic thing, they knew these planes. They could travel in between. So when you know something, then it becomes like normal. It doesn't stay in the realm of belief anymore.
Man, you are killing it. Now let me ask you something.
Yes.
When you leave your body in astral projection, are you in the same area, or are you just waking up on another plane that's like a fractal?
It's another plane. It's another plane, but your like spirit's cord is still attached to your physical body. There's a silver cord which is still attached. So you are in another plane, but your physical body is in this plane, but you're attached with the silver cord still. Okay, so when you go around, the silver cord is still attached, and when you come back, like, that's why you come back. When you are traveling to like higher planes, most beings don't have the energy to go there anyways. Like, what it takes, like what your body is, like, because whatever your spirit body is, which is called Markaba, like, Ka is charge and Ba is the container. The whole your spirit body, it doesn't have enough charge to actually propel you into the higher planes. So like ancients, whenever they were on earth, they were developing their charged body to that point where they can travel to higher planes. Your life was actually a preparation for doing that. When you need to go to those higher planes, and another thing which you need to know for going to higher planes is etiquette after energy. If you don't have the etiquette, if you don't know how the manners, if you don't have that thing, you won't last there. You'll be kicked down very quickly. So, even if you get there, There's going to be no point. That's why most people are stuck at lower planes, is just from one simple reason: they don't know how to behave in a higher realm. It's a plain simple matter of behavior.
Do we want to continue to be
Earth,
here, or are we in prison?
Earth is like the middle ground. Okay. So according to Vedic thing, Earth is right in the middle. Like there are 7 planes below, then 7 planes above. Okay. So all the traffic, lot of traffic from down to up and up to down, all goes through Earth. Okay. So Earth is like Midgard, what they called in Norse mythology, Midgard. So in the Vedic it's called Bhumandal. Okay. So it's right in the middle of the thing. Okay. And Earth was used by even beings which were in the higher planes. For example, if somebody is in heaven, heaven is just the next higher plane. It's called Swarg. Okay. Okay. So after Swarg, there are other higher planes called Tapolok, Rishilok, Gyanlok. There are many other planes above that, even above heaven. Heavens above heavens above heavens, unless you get to the Brahmlok, which is the highest point. And then there are planes above that too, which are realms. They're not even planes, they're realms. Okay. So there is when the multiverse was created in the beginning, all the realms were created simultaneously. Okay. Except there was no hell, but there was no pain and torture in the beginning. It was just the whole multiverse was an experiential thing. But from the top plane to the bottom plane, there was no pain or torture. Pain or torture only started later when people broke the laws of the multiverse. Multiverse has laws and rules, and beings broke those. And that's where the whole problem started from. So, like, there was a time on Earth even when no one had a disease, no one was diseased, no one ever had a disease. No one experienced any pain. Even on this Earth plane I'm talking about,
This is interesting. Evil. It wasn't always in existence. It actually has an origin.
According to Vedic thing, there is no such thing as evil, actually, first. Okay. Only wrong or negativity is just breaking the multiversal law. That's all. There's no such thing. There are no villains. You call the laws of nature, they're the laws of the multiverse. Okay. So their laws are there. And they're very simple laws. Okay, they're not very complicated. And whatever laws on this earth, what people man-made laws, they don't matter at all. Like, whether you follow them or not makes no difference. When you follow those laws, that's much more important. Whatever nonsense they have created, or the system they created on earth, which they call society, those laws don't matter actually.
These laws you speak of were created by a group of families. So my question to you is, a lot of us say, man, these people are so powerful, they are so evil.
Like the word which is bandied around is called Illuminati, okay? And I call them desperati, personally, okay?
Desperati?
Desperati, that's my term for this.
And what does that mean? What does that translate to in English?
It means they are desperate. They're just desperate. They're not powerful, okay? Powerful means, like, if you have power, then you don't need to rule like this. You can rule in style out in the open. Okay. They have made up this game right now. Okay. On Earth. Okay. They have made up this thing or this system. That can be finished in 10 minutes. Like, the whole continents can go down, seas can rise up. Where seas are there will be continents. Okay. And they will not be able to do a single thing about it. They're always helpless, actually, to much bigger forces than them. Okay. Which are there in this multiverse. Okay. So they are a very small little pawns. Like they say, like, they can control weather through HARP. Okay. And I'm saying that HARP cannot control any weather or anything like that. Okay. Yeah. I'm already to challenge HARP anytime. And like let them say, like, HARP is gonna do this here, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna do that there. Let's see what happens. Whether my thing happens or HARP things happen. Like, they are more closer to the the guy in Wizard of Oz. The movie Wizard of Oz, everybody knows that. That old man behind the curtain, which is always saying that it has got this, it has got that, but it's all smokes and mirrors. These people don't have all those things which they say they do, which everybody knew, like, just like the man on the moon and all of that, which it has been proven to be fake. If you're not going to trust them on the ball, if you're not going to trust them on the moon, you can't trust them on any of these things either.
Say that they are reptilians, archons.
Yeah.
Are they human? Who are these people? When did they get in power?
Okay. I'll clear both the things up first. Like how it happened, what happened. These people are in this position only because people as a whole went against the laws themselves first. So when you do that, you lose power yourself. Okay, like in India, for example, people went against the Vedic way from 5,000 years. Like last 5,000 years, people went against the Vedic way. So right now, the situation after 5,000 years is that they are under that system. They have a reserve bank. They are under that thing. They're under the cost and all of that. They're under the monetary system and all of that, which India didn't need to be at all. There was no reason for India to be under the monetary system in any way whatsoever. Okay. It only happened because people went against the way, against the multiple. And then whenever there is a weakness, there is always someone there to exploit it. That is always the case. And when those people are exploiting that, they don't want the people who are gone down to come up. So they'll obviously try the best they can to keep the people down and to keep the people in that state so that they don't get away from them or they don't rise. Point is, if any human being takes responsibility for themselves right now, within their being, they can rise above the system. You know, like if they just go within and take responsibility for their own self, they can rise above the system easily because it's not a very strong system. And as far as archons are concerned, archons are actually what are called grahas, like Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Moon, and Sun. Okay, these grahas, which are called grahas in Sanskrit, Caesars, they are the archons, which these people talk about. And they have been put in place to give people energies as per their past actions. So whenever beings have done their past actions, they take this birth and these beings regulate their lives. What they call archon in the West is actually this. Okay, like it's nothing to do with these people who are making these governments. These people who are doing these things also, like, I mean, they're working on these kind of basis. Like, for example, like they want people to eat meat. Okay, and that thing. So they have made up this whole meat, that thing. And after that, they know that if animals are killed, a negative energy is created. Okay, so like a negative force field is created. So then they will sacrifice a certain amount of humans as well to balance that negative field. Okay, like otherwise everything will go to hell straight away. Like people will just go mad and like nobody will be able to go to work and the whole thing will spiral out of control. So these sacrifices are called wars. They organize wars in order to do these human sacrifices. But these have to be organized only because animal sacrifices are happening before. So they have to balance that out. So these beings know these kind of rules.
There was a time where there was no such thing as predators and prey. No animals hunted each other, and we all were living with the plants, and everything was peaceful, happiness, love, and so.
Yes, yeah, that is the Vedic time. Yeah, that is, you can call it the Vedic, like when everybody is following the laws. I mean, nobody can be like, if a being is following the laws, they cannot be like used. They cannot be like exploited. Exploitation is not possible. There was a time like that, and people went against that. And people think there are cycles like this, that it happens cyclically. It's not like that. There are no cycles like this. Either it happens or it doesn't happen. I mean, golden age can last millions of years. There is no such boundary to it that a fall is going to happen. There is no such necessary thing. In the Vedic thing, the concept is that once things get too bad on any plane, whether it's earth plane or any other plane, beings from higher realms do intercede. Yeah.
When things get too bad on any realm, beings from higher realms intercede. Now that's very comforting to me to hear that to me.
What is called the word avatar. Sanskrit is called avatar.
Oh, okay.
You know, like there's a movie called Avatar, and there was all these icons, emojis are called avatars. Everything is called that avatar concept comes from that Sanskrit term, which means crossing over from higher dimension to lower dimension of a being to take care of the situation on any plane. Okay.
So these beings that intercede when things get too bad, have they interceded here on Earth yet?
Yeah, many times, and there are a lot of Puranic stories, Vedic stories about which beings interceded at which time.
No, these beings fail their missions because the Earth is still bad.
I'll answer that. Like this has happened over millions and millions of years. Okay, so if something goes right for a while, and it wasn't bad like bad right now. Every time bad is different. The beings in power get corrupted different times, which are different from right now, and they correct that thing at a time, and then it goes fine for a while until it changes again. It's not like it doesn't go fine for a while.
You know what?
Like,
I totally
yeah,
understand that. Now, with that being
yeah.
said, can we also say that this cosmos we live in is not perfect? It's a work in progress.
I mean, yeah, perfect in the sense that after the creator, like in the Vedic thing, there's a trinity, like Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiv. Now, Brahma is the creator. Like he creates, and like that's why all these religions, these three religions like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they are Abrahamic religions. They're called Abrahamic religions. Okay. Now, the word Abraham comes from Brahma only. Okay, if you take the A out of Brahma and put it in the front, you get Abraham, like Abraham, like, okay. So, and it is the same. The creator has got no control after the creation is created. It has no control over it. There are entities called preserver and destroyer. There are two more, which was called Vishnu, which is Narayan, which is called and Shiv. In the Vedic thing, the Vishnus are of at least 100 types of Vishnus are there, which are there like in different realms with different positions and different things. Vedic thing is very vast. Like the goddesses, if you come to the goddesses in the Vedic thing, there are more than 1,000 goddesses, more than 1,000. Okay, so when you say Kali, for example, you said Mahakali. Okay, now word Kali comes from Kala means time. So the Shakti, the energy of time. Okay, which is a very primordial concept. Time is what the multiverse is based on. So there's the energy for that, and Mahakali has many aspects, and like because time is not a singular thing as people think it to be. It has various aspects. So there'll be all these different goddesses which represent different aspects of time. That's why it's called Mahakali, means great Kali. So it'll have like a Bagulamukhi, it'll have Trutinanda. There will be so many goddesses which come under the banner of Mahakali itself. Sanskrit word is Kal. Okay, Kal means time. Nothing to do with black or white. So the skull she's wearing and everything, it shows the various aspects of time. She wears a skull with 12 that things, which is like the 12 signs of zodiac, the 12th division of the 360-degree arc. Whether it means the color black or not. Okay, so the word is for that is Kala. What happens is in the West is like they put a R automatically. They put a R sound on top of everything. If you have the word Shiv, which will become Shiva in the West.
Yeah.
If you have Krishna becomes Krishna. Ram becomes Rama. But in Sanskrit, what happens is if you use the word Kal, that's different. If you use the word Kala, they are two different things. If I go into Kali, I can tell 1,000 things about that. Whatever information is there on Google, I'm trying to say Kal is time and Kala is back. Okay, let's be clear about that. It's not Kala which is time. Kal is time. Because the root of the words in Sanskrit and what they mean, there's so much misinformation online about it. In Sanskrit, there is an alphabet. Like in English, you have A, B, C, D. Okay, like in that same way, Sanskrit has like an alphabet which starts with Ka, actually. The Sanskrit alphabet starts with Ka. It has 50 letters in total. Okay, English has 26. So it has 50 letters. All those individual letters have their own sounds and meanings. And then Sanskrit is a combination of those meanings. Like I'm taking it from that level only, sound level. I mean, that way, in the same way in English also, like if you break down any word, for example, if you break down the word physics in English, even if you go to a university and you ask a physics professor, like, what is physics? I mean, they will not be able to tell you what the word physics means. That is what the situation is in English even. The word physics comes from phi, P-H-I-S-I-C-S. Okay. The word phi comes from phi ratio, golden ratio. 6 comes from cutting up of phi ratios. That's what physics means. Cutting up of phi ratio essences. That's how nature functions. All of the nature functions on phi ratio. So, I mean, which is called golden ratio. So, I mean, that way all words in every language have their real meanings, which are not known or are not told. Like, I mean, like even the Oxford Dictionary, which is not going to tell you anything about that because it's just ox means earth and ford means fraud. Okay, in Old English, ford means fraud. Okay, earth fraud. It's Earth Fraud Dictionary. Webster's creating a web, Oxford Dictionary. Okay, that's English even. Like even the English language comes from the same Sanskrit root. All of them, because it is just a part of it. 26 alphabets. No soft D's, no soft T's. It is part of that. Even the Egyptian. Like I'll tell you the similarities. I mean, if like there was Ram in Sanskrit, there is Ra kings in Egypt. They called Ra. It's the same thing. Whether you say Ram or you say Ra, the Ra and use the word Ra for sun, is the same thing, which is continuing from the Vedic to Egyptian to English. And I mean, English is pretty much Egyptian and Sanskrit only, the language, actually. I mean, the word language means land gauge, actually. You gauge the land. It programs you. Like every time you speak, it programs you. No matter what language you speak, you have to speak from the center of your mouth, which is called centering, which is called median, medi in Latin, which is medi means center. Like that's what becomes the word meditation. When you center and you speak from the center and you always stay in the center, no matter what the language, you're always meditating. Okay. So, I mean, like that way, if you use words in every language, we have to still understand what they actually mean, the basics of it, from the very core level, from the basic sound levels. Like, and the word R, like in English also, it is written like R, like which is like a rotation. In Sanskrit, the letter is Ra is like this only, like it's a rotation, even in pictographical form. So, like, and what that rotation is, it's a rotation from matter to energy and energy to matter. And that's what the sun does. That's why it's called Ra. Like, I mean, we can go on and on about this, but I'm just trying to tell you that we are on the same page about this, that we have to go to the basic roots, not just Sanskrit, but in any language.
We absorbing it all up, man, and just want to say thank you again for coming here and sharing your wealth of information with us.
The Shakti is there all the time. Whether the multiverse is in creation or not in creation, Shakti stays. So it doesn't have any time. So it can't be dated or predated. All black is not the same black. Okay. You can have black with certain level of coherence, and then you can have a black with much more coherence and much more infinity, which is more finite ratio. Okay. So that Shakti in its infinite form is always there. That's called Shakti. Now there are various aspects of Shakti, like goddess Kali is one aspect of it. Okay, it's an aspect, but the blanket term, if you want to use, it will be Shakti for that.
Who created this trinity in Vedic
Mahashakti creates that. Mahashakti. Other goddesses are Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, and Mahakali. That is the goddess trinity. You can put all the planes, 14 planes in a form of a tree, world tree. You can call it, because it has an axis, it has a pole. So you can put that in that form. It's one of the formats you can put it in. Like, but that is obviously a manifestation of Shakti.
Is it our goal to climb higher up this tree through stages?
Obviously, because I mean that depends upon what you want. Like if you want no pain, no torture, or everything good, everything nice, no problems, none of this tension, none of this that thing, then you want to go higher.
Flat earthers will tell you, man, listen, stick to the facts.
Okay, stick to the facts is very good. I mean, but in basics are also facts. A human being has got to eat. That's also a fact. Human being also has got to speak. That's also a fact. A human being has to breathe. I mean, all of these are facts too. Any being has to do these things. These are, I mean, the thing in the West is that there are no basics. Nobody wants to do basics. Nobody wants to do the primary. Nobody wants to go into that. Like, I mean, I gave you examples of different things, like, you know, like the watch and sound, what you put into your ear and what you make and all of these things. Everything makes these form the basics. Even the earth or the cow connecting with nature is also a basic. I mean, if people don't take care of the basics, I mean, flat earth was just a pointer which gives earth its proper position. In the theory they have given, like when earth was spinning around the sun in the solar system and the solar system was going around the center of the Milky Way, the earth was just a meaningless speck in their system. In the Vedic cosmology and in the real flat earth thing, it is stationary, it's flat, it's a plane, it is right in the center of multiverse, which gives earth its proper position.
We can go up to higher planes or down to lower planes. If we go to the North Pole right now, will we be able to physically access different planes from the North Pole?
No, one can't do it physically.
It has to be spiritual.
I know that a lot of people are trying to do that. Like there's a whole movement which is happening. People want to go to North Pole, and that's where the whole thing about the West comes in. That like no importance is given to the basics. The thing with the North Pole is that if you go towards the center, you know, and in order to access higher realms, one has to have one's energy right. One has to be prepared to be accepted into those realms. One can't force the way in. If it was a matter of forcing your way in, then all the governments and everybody would have gone there already and trying to force their way in. They have all the resources to go to North Pole and go in there, but they still don't, because it doesn't work like that. I mean, it's not just a matter of just packing your bags and going there and things will work out and you'll go higher. That's not how it works. One has to be ready. One has to be fit enough for higher planes. One has to have done the basics. One has to have understood what it takes to be there, to exist in those planes.
Hey, that's what's up. These different planes that we're talking about, do they go up and up and up forever to different planes and down and down and down forever? Is there a limit to them?
There is a limit. There is a limit.
So when you reach the very, very top plane, what is that like?
Yeah. And that will be like a day of there. Would be like millions of years on Earth. First, a day there. And that is like very subtle realm. That's like high energy, that is like power in its purest form. All the good things which you call peace and love, like properly real thing, fully expressed in all times, in all things, without any corruption or any kind of, it's like an immediate call and response.
Yeah, so now let me ask you, when you go all the way down to the very, very bottom plane, what is that like?
That is also doesn't mean any kind of disease or doesn't mean any kind of badness. It just more gross. It just gets more vibrationally thicker. That's all. It's not hell. Okay.
Got you.
Bodies exist in all planes. You have a body in all planes.
Okay, so we have a body in all planes. That's interesting.
Yeah. They are inside your body. Other bodies right now exist inside your physical body, like Russian dolls. Like one doll is, the other dolls are all inside. So when this physical body comes off, then all the other bodies come out together, and there is the one covering on it. The physical body is like a cloth. When that cloth comes off, the other bodies will come out. The body which is going to come out will still feel pain and pleasure and all of that. People think something changes at the moment of leaving that. It doesn't. Nothing changes actually. In the Vedic, there is no difference between physical and spiritual. Vedic doesn't have any kind of schizophrenia in anything. There is no material, spiritual. Material and spiritual are the same thing.
Syncretism. What is syncretism to you?
Syncretism to me is combining up of all of the energies in a holistic way.
You said that there was a time where everything was perfect and it was balanced and harmony. How did it all started going downhill and now we need governments that exploit us? One theory is that it started with hunting the animals. I want to know if you agree with that and what do you think?
Okay. I find that all of those things are side results. Hunting the animals and all of that is the side result of the perversion. Perversion comes before hunting and stuff happens later. The main perversion, the very first perversion, according to with Vedic thing, happened when beings actually rebelled against the higher forces. Like there was a being called Daksh, for example. He went against Shiv, and Shiv was actually had more power than him, but he just went against them, thinking that he had more. In the multiverse, the rule is that you will not take any kind of that thing with the higher. The rule is PBS to the higher, always. You don't confront the higher. When you do that, then you break the law. And after that, many things happen. And then you fall down, and then your energy gets scrambled, and then you start doing nonsensical things, killing the animals and all of that. That perversion comes later. So the basic thing is like a more egoic thing, which is the problem point, which happens in the multiverse. When ego blinds them to the reality of what is at any given point of time. That sense of ego, that is the problem. All the stories always show that as the problem. Like even the so-called demons which were trying to fight Durga or Kali, they were doing it just because they thought they had the power to fight these goddesses. Okay.
Do you believe in one divine creator that created everything, or plural?
There are many energies. Even that one has so many aspects. Like in Sanskrit, if you use one name, there are 1,000 names of the one thing. So each name gives a different aspect to the whole thing. So they are the actual qualities When in Islam you say Allah, if you ask any Islam person, they'll say praise be to Allah. But how will you praise Allah when you don't know anything about Allah? What are its qualities? Anything which does something has to have qualities. These qualities are actual aspects of a being. And you have to know about those exact qualities. Just like in science, you have to know about different energies like electricity, magnetism. All these things are separate things. Like, so you have to understand each quality properly and you have to like celebrate it. You have to praise it. If somebody has to praise Mahakali, then you have to praise all of her aspects and all of her energies and everything. You have to be able to tell what they are. You have to be able to recognize them and cognize them, actually. Again, the Vedic thing says, when you praise, you're praising those things inside you only. They are not outside of you. In the West, they have turned it into praying. Okay, pray and praise are totally different things. Pray is a short form of praise. When you love something, okay, you're praising it only, actually.
I think that the way our earth and our cosmos is made is awesome. When I start looking at the ancient designs of the ancient flat earth cosmology, I say, man, this is a beautiful earth we live in. Our ancestors, when they thought about the cosmos, also went as far as to personify the cosmos. Do you see the cosmological parallel between Mama Kali and the earth cosmos?
Obviously, I mean, it can't be separated. I mean, there can be no separation. I mean, those aspects of divine energies will be there in the Earth's makeup and Earth's cosmology and the whole planar cosmology. I mean, from the top to the bottom, everything has to be based on the same aspect, same principles, like as above, so below, as inside, so outside. Look at the stars outside, all of them, like in the night sky. Okay. If I am seeing all these stars outside, I mean, those stars are inside me first. Then they are outside afterwards. Okay.
That was really good. He said those stars are inside of him first.
Inside creates the outside.
That right there just made the stars inside of me light up.
Actually get in touch with it, to get the reality of it. That is the work, actually. That's why I was saying to you, like, I mean, I'm ready to do anything. Like, they can go to any place in a continent, anywhere, America or Australia or anywhere, and they can say, Harp is going to do this, and I'm saying I'm going to do that. And we'll see the weather, what will do, whether what I'm saying it will happen or what Harp says will happen. Okay, I'm ready to do this battle with anything, any technology which they have on Earth right now. The inside is much more powerful than anything they have on the outside. People are so worried about all these things right now, like all this chemtrails and all of this thing. I mean, they don't understand that inside you have much more power than that. This is nothing, whatever is happening on the outside.
When I tell you that he is wise, very wise. In the world today, everybody worship a male god. But the further I research history, I see that the ancients all had mother goddesses. Don't you think it's important that we go back to the ancient matriarchal mother nature, mother goddess?
I mean, if anybody goes to my channel, if anybody does go to my channel, they'll find that I have a thing called Goddess Sonic. Okay, so I play sounds, which are Goddess Sonics, and I've got more than 200, 300 films out there with sounds, which are based on that. First, Goddess Sonics, I call them. The thing is that what has happened is, Goddess was there always. They just hid it a little bit. Okay, like in Christianity, they hid it as Mary. They've just tried to hide it because they don't want people to have direct access to Shakti and energy. Basically Shakti, because that will open up people will actually have power, and then there'll be no such system. This system can't hold them. There is obviously that fear. And when you are making a kind of deity which they have in Christianity, like the Jesus, which is on the cross, bleeding and dying and all of that, that kind of thing creates a whole lot of funniness, like whatever deities they make you worship. Like I said, in Islam, they call Allah, but they can't tell what Allah is. Actually, they don't have any single word or like thing about what this being is actually. Like they don't, I mean, that's where the Vedic thing has got thousands and thousands of energies, qualities, aspects of all deities, like in the feminine and the masculine aspect, both aspects. And especially in the feminine aspect, there's a whole thing called Shakti Path, which like covers all of the goddesses in so many different ways. I mean, in Egypt also, like you just see the goddess in 2-3 ways, like Isis, like Hathor, Nut. But there are so many more aspects to that. Like, Nut was a sky goddess, like in Egypt, for example, which is a form from Na, Ni, Nu, Ne, which is Nu form is one form. Ne form is another, which became Nephthys. But even Nephthys is also different forms. Lilith is also different forms. all these ni form and the na form was not covered. If you just know Nut and you know Nepthys, you're still not going through all the aspects of the goddess even. So what I'm saying, in the Vedic, there is more comprehensive coverage. Even through Kali Strotra, like you like Kali, so then you can go through Kali Strotra and you'll find so much fun things about.
Let me say, man, hey, you're awesome, my brother. Man, you're doing a good job. And I just want to say, I want to give you something to laugh at. But people in the chat room, they say they like it when you say, okay, okay. They say they like that, man. That's the accent is awesome, man. You sound like the Godfather.
I was pleased to talk, I mean, because you have been going the vegan way and you have been going the flat earth, and I was very pleased about the direction you're taking, because the whole so-called black conscious community is not with you on it. Like even Bobby Hemmett and stuff, like they got towards the Vedic things to a certain extent, but they didn't